Hello travelers. In this video, I want to discuss something that's been going on, solar flares. This has been going on and I feel like it's going to get worse and worse, and I just wanted to talk about it for a little bit. Basically, the sun's giving off what's known as these things, solar flares, and they just shoot off, they blow up like on the sun, and then they just shoot off like towards our Earth. And our electromagnetic field is what protects us from these. And the moon has a lot to do with it. But I just wanted to go into some little bit of detail about it to see what's going on. Let's see. Today is Thursday the 8th. This is from September 2nd. So this isn't that long ago. I wanted to start where it started last week, and then it keeps ramping up to today. But it says, watch out. Delta class magnetic field generated by the sun, possibly of X-class solar flares, and X-class is supposedly very, very high and bad. Sunspot AR-3089, which is directly facing Earth, has now acquired a Delta-class magnetic field, indicating that it has accumulated enough energy to produce an X-class solar flare. This isn't good. As stated by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the NOAA, the sunspot has a 5% chance of producing an X-class outburst. If that happens, the flare might cause a severe geomagnetic storm in the Earth's atmosphere, causing damage to infrastructure and electromagnetic communication systems. This is pretty crazy, guys. And I know it's like one of those things like, we're fine, the sun's been around for fucking ever, but this is what's going on. They're like, look at these visuals. They're seeing these huge spots, and then they just go boom. Eventually they pop. They burst like a balloon, right? Sunspots are dark spots on the solar surface caused by extremely strong coronal magnetic fields. When these powerful magnetic fields realign, they can produce solar flares, which are bursts of electromagnetic radiation, as well as coronal mass ejections, which are massive plumes of solar plasma, CMEs they're called. Delta-class fields are frequently linked to higher levels of solar activity because they cause very large sunspots with flipped magnetic polarity, as per spaceweatherlive.com. Solar flares produced from the sunspots are classed according to the strength of their X-rays: C-class, M-class, and X-class. C-class flares are frequent and have few visible consequences on Earth. M-class flares are moderate in intensity and may create modest geomagnetic storms. And X-class, which is what we're talking about in this video, and X-class flares are the most intense but rare. X-class flares are 10 times as strong than M-class, which is the middle one, and X10 flare is 10 times stronger than an X1 flare. Jesus. So there's like different levels of X. It's like Final Fantasy, guys. It's crazy. While the likelihood of an X-class flare from sunspot AR-3089 is minimal, if one does occur, the associated geomagnetic storms could be harmful to the Earth. As per NASA, X-class flares reaching Earth may cause satellite damage, global transmission issues. Our phones won't work, guys. So basically, people aren't really going to care about this until they can't go on their Facebooks and shit. Global radio blackouts. We don't need that. And perhaps minor radiation exposures, which is the worst, to aeroplane passengers near the North and South Poles. I've been watching a lot of What We Do in the Shadows, so that's why I said aeroplane. Aeroplane! I like Laszlo in that. You know what I'm talking about if you watch that. But, yeah, back to the topic here. Here's another shot of the sun. Pretty creepy, right? Yeah, a guy taking a little satellite out here taking pictures of it. GPS radio transmissions must travel through the Earth's ionosphere between the Earth receiver and the orbiting satellite, which means that when there is a geomagnetic storm and the ionosphere is disrupted, the radio signal gets corrupted and the receivers cannot obtain an exact position. The 1859 Carrington event, which resulted in dazzling aurora observed around the world and even caused flames in some telegraph station, is likely to have been triggered by the largest and most intense X-class flare to hit the Earth. This was 1859. It is expected that if a storm of this scale occurred today, the electrical power grid would be disrupted for an extended period of time. This isn't good, guys. The sun's activity is governed by 11-year cycles, with the number of solar flares and CMEs increasing as it nears the solar maximum. The latest solar minimum occurred in December 2019. Jesus, right when like the pandemic and everything was going off. and the subsequent solar maximum is expected in 2025. Right after the elections. Jesus. Nonetheless, the sun's activity is stronger than formerly anticipated for the stage of its cycle. The current cycle, solar cycle 25, is the 25th cycle since humanity began documenting sunspot activity in 1755. That's not even that long ago, guys. So like 60 years ago or something, we started acknowledging this. Pretty scary, right? Let's see what else we got. Trying to keep it light with this music, guys. If you're just tuning in, we're checking out solar flares. Pretty crazy. And then there's just like basic questions about it that we kind of already answered. Like, here, let me switch your picture. Let me get you back to this. I really like this one because it really explains the boundaries, the spectrum of space. I like that. Can solar flares from Can solar flares from sunspots cause radio disruption? Solar flares from sunspots have the potential to cause radio disruption. Solar flares are flashes of radiation that expose from the sun's surface, usually from areas of the sun known as sunspots. What's the difference between a sunspot and a flare? Sunspots are seen as darker areas on the sun's surface, especially where coronal magnetic fields are strong. These strong magnetic fields rearrange themselves, which can eject solar flares and bursts of electromagnetic radiation. Solar flares are classified based on how powerful the X-rays are. And it says, which sunspots produce the most intense solar flares? Sunspots with delta fields are known to produce the most intense solar flares. They're often very big, according to the Solar Activity News. And at the same time, this type of sunspot also decays quicker than other types. There's a lot on this, but I don't know if it's being acknowledged. I don't know, guys. NASA hopes that its Parker Solar Probe will be hit by a solar flare in the near future, even as it completed its 13th close encounter with the sun yesterday. They want this thing to get hit September 6th. Okay, we're getting closer. September 6th. According to the Space Agency, the solar activity is already exceeding the expectations of scientists as the sun slowly moves towards the peak of its 11-year solar cycle, which began on December 2019. Scientists expect solar activity to be at its peak in the year 2025. They keep saying that. The sun has changed completely since we launched Parker Solar Probe during solar minimum when it was very quiet. When the sun changes, it also changes the environment around it. The activity at this time is way higher than we expected. Jesus. And there was something else I wanted to mention about what this is actually doing to the weather already, like how we're being affected. Let me find it here, guys. Sorry. Yeah, it was yesterday. Today's, again, it's September 8th, Thursday, 2022. Yesterday, September 7th, 2022, Sacramento broke a record. They hit 115 degrees. Downtown Sacramento hit 115 degrees after 4 p.m. on Tuesday. This breaks the city's previous heat record of 114 in 1925. They beat it by a degree. Like 100 years later. 97 years later. So, no wonder the summer was so hot and global warming is real. Like all these things that I guess we've truly neglected. Let's get another one. Pretty crazy. Here's a good cartoon one, if it loads. My internet's being slow. I hope the solar flares didn't hit us. What's going on here? It's scaring me. It's actually amazing. We've come as far as we have, folks. Because these things aren't stopping. And apparently it's going to get worse and worse. What's that, Pando? He's like leveling up or something? It's going to get worse and worse until people acknowledge it. Like most things, right? There's something on this like every day too. Like whenever you're watching this video, just go on Google and type in solar flare, and I guarantee you could find something on this. I'm gonna make more videos on this because I just like skimmed the surface on it. And for some reason, we are affected by solar flares because I have a very high speed internet and it's being weird. So, whatever. They don't want me to see this. What's going on here? I want to see this cool one. This one's like an animation one. What's going on? Why is my internet being slow? This is what solar flares would do, guys. They would just like screw us from looking at stuff. You won't be able to go on Hulu. There's no more Peacock, no more YouTube. It's just gonna put everything out of business. Man, if the power goes off though, that's not good. We freak out in hurricanes. Wow, look at that one. A little blurry, but that's the idea, guys. Damn. So, and I think they said, prepare for solar flare. To prepare for it, yeah, we need to. At an individual level, here are some things that you can do to prepare for a solar flare or EMP attack. Store food and water to survive the initial aftermath of the attack. Jesus, this is gonna be like Fallout. Just play the game Fallout and you could probably get what they were doing, you know? Learn how to live off the land and grow your own food. If it's not poisoned by radiation, yeah, it's a good idea. Identify vulnerable devices, tools, and appliances and take steps to protect them from the effects of EMP. This is another thing that I didn't talk about in this video, and this is why I think I have to make more of them. They were saying some people, because the solar flares were so high in the past week, and especially today, it's getting worse, that they were saying to take all your electronic devices and put them in like a protective bin if you could, just to protect it from the EMPs that would like zip through and just fry everything. But obviously, I can vouch for this. We have too many things, man. I have too many things. I got the cameras, the lights, the microphone, the wires. I got Earthworm Jim. I can't put Earthworm Jim's rocket in a box. But yeah, there's like, I can't put my TV in a box. My computer is in a box. It's in a fucking tower thing. But I gotta put it in a, you know what I mean? It's almost like if you watch Better Call Saul, his brother, legendary actor, Saul Goodman's brother, Chuck. Where is he? This guy. He had the right idea. We might end up doing this one day where, see, he comes and checks on his brother that seems crazy because he only works off of like natural gas light and no, look, typewriter, no electronics. This guy's ahead of the curve. The whole idea of this character is so ahead of the curve. But he comes off as like a nut job in Better Call Saul. But the truth is, he knows what's up. This is what we might have to do. We might have to wear like these fucking radiation solar deflective blankets from NASA. This guy's no dummy. He's just ahead of the curve, guys. So stay safe out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring a ding ding my bell, baby. And I will see you guys in the next video.